Was I the dweeby kid at the back of the hall in uni? So here's an interesting thing. The university I went to had the performing arts course, but it had a separate course called the film and TV course. And on the performing arts course, we were meant to learn how to act, but they didn't teach us that very well. On the film and TV course, they did learn how to make films and how to edit, how to use cameras, how to direct, how to write. There was a lot of kind of behind the scenes stuff. And the film and TV course, part of their course was to make short student films. And for this, they needed student actors. So they came to the performing arts course and said, hey, we need some of you guys to act. So I did lots of films. In fact, by the time I finished uni, I think I'd made about 200 short films. I made more short films than any other student had done at that university, because all I wanted to do was fully exploit the ability, fully exploit the chance. I would never get the chance to make so many short films ever again. I wanted to be on film sets as much as I possibly could. So every week, I would go into the film and TV course, a course I'm not even on, and be like, right guys, who needs an actor? I'll do it. I was in so many films. We did sci-fi films, we did zombie films, we did rom-com films, we did martial arts films, anything you could think of, we did it. The film and TV lecturers, the staff, ended up knowing me by name because I was in so many of their films. They'd never even met me. I walked into one of their lectures one day to hand a memory stick to a guy that I was working with on a film, and a lecturer that I'd never met just looked up and went, oh, hello, Josh. And then I just handed that and then walked off. They straight away just knew that. And one of my lecturers on the performing arts course actually sat down with me one day and said, Josh, you aren't spending enough time in the course. And I replied, you aren't teaching me what I want to know. And they got a bit annoyed at that. And they're like, well, what do you want to know? And I'm like, okay, when does this course mention Spotlight, which is the UK industry standard casting agency that you need to be on to be cast by BBC, ITV, Sky, you know, anyone big, they use Spotlight. And the lecturer just went, yeah, we don't cover that. I went, okay, cool. When are you going to cover day rates, agencies? When are you going to cover self-assessment tax forms that we'll need to do if we're a sole trader or a limited company? And they went, yeah, we don't cover that. I'm like, okay, what are you going to cover? What's the next thing that we do? What's the next module that we have? And they went, oh yeah, we're going to spend about 3 months discussing how you can get funding from the Arts Council England, provided that you want to create something called TIE, which is Theatre in Education. So if you've ever been in schools or colleges and you've had a troupe of actors, maybe it's just 2, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 10, come and do an assembly in your school about why drugs are bad, or why you shouldn't drink and drive, or how to deal with relationships. You know, you've all been forced to sit down and watch those kind of acted out scenes and scripts. We had 3 months learning how to make those and how to apply for funding for those. And I said, okay, not where I want to go. How much do we need to charge for that? Because getting funding is great, but how much am I charging the schools? Am I charging them as an individual, or am I charging them as part of an agency? How many people make a career out of doing this? What's the likelihood that we could actually survive as what's called a jobbing actor? They never answered that question. And so I kind of stopped taking the course seriously after that. In fact, there was a moment that I absolutely knew that I wouldn't need to take the course seriously. And this is going to sound bad, but this is the truth. We had a section. I'm going to put the controller down because this is important to me. I believe in education. I believe education is one of the most important things you can possibly get. I believe education is an excellent route for a lot of people to drag themselves out of whatever life they're living if they don't want to be living it. Putting government money into education is super important. Good schools producing intelligent, wise, curious people is a fantastic foundation for a society to be built on. Did I have private education? No, I did not. I went to... In England, when we say public schools, we mean schools that are free for everyone to go to. And yet the actual legal definition of public school is one you have to pay to go to. And when they say private school, they sometimes mean privately owned. It's all different. Anyway, I went to schools that were just free to go to. I had free school meals. Every bit of government assistance that could possibly be offered, at the time when I was a kid was on, because of my mum and dad's situation with not earning a lot of money. So free school meals was something that got me through life and something that I will support forever. Free education is something I think we should push. my mum and dad had to drop me off at school early before school started because they had to get to their job, and they had to pick me up late because they had to stay late at their job to earn as much money as they could. Which means there was a thing called early care and there was a thing called aftercare at schools, where you'd have like volunteers or staff members that would just supervise the kids before school started and then supervise the kids after the school had finished, before the parents could get to pick them up late. And sometimes I was the first kid in school, and then I was the last one there, just kind of sat there with the staff waiting to be picked up. And that's nothing against my mum or my dad. They were working as hard as they possibly could to give us the lifestyle that we ended up having, which was, it wasn't rich, it wasn't extravagant, but, you know, we were able to go to Centre Parks once every few years. We never went specifically hungry. I learned to cook a lot of pasta, but they did well, kind of breakfast clubs. And I fully support education and putting money into education with that. So I take university very seriously. When I got there, in fact, there was this one sentence that stood out in my mind, and I've never forgotten this, and this has annoyed me more than anything else. First day of university, all of the performing arts students are filed into this big kind of auditorium hall. We all sit round, and the lecturer, the course leader, walks up and starts giving a speech about how this course is going to change us. And they said a phrase that stuck with me. They said, "This course will not turn you into industry fodder. We are going to turn you into industry leaders." And I thought, God damn, yeah, chills, shivers. I don't want to be industry fodder. I don't want to be just auditioning for the rest of my life. Industry leader. Hell yeah. What I realise now is that was code for, this course will make drama teachers. That's pretty much it, really. We had one good thing about the course. And again, if uni want to pull me up on this, they're happy to pull me up. I got a phone call after I graduated. 3 years later, I graduated. I got a phone call saying, "Hey, how was the course?" I went, "Haha, shit." And they were like, I'm sorry, why? What? Why? And I just laid into them for like an hour, putting out every single flaw. Not because I wanted to be harsh, but because I felt that I was lied to. I really genuinely felt that the course lied to me. We had one good thing about the course, and that was an actor called Raji James. Right, you can Google him right now. I think he was in either EastEnders or Coronation Street, one of the two. And he was in the film East is East, and he was in a few episodes of Doctor Who. Raji James was the kind of actor that was working at the thing at the time, and he would do all of the practical lessons. You know what, Raji? Absolute goddamn legend. Lovely chap. Really nice guy. If you worked hard, he had time for you. I would email him at 2 or 3 in the morning with a question. He would reply 3 or 4 hours later. He would always end the email with, "Josh, stop fucking emailing me at 2 o'clock in the morning." But he would goddamn reply. And while I understand that, you know, Raji himself is not AAA actor, he's not, you know, massive Hollywood, he was a goddamn hardworking, talented, decent guy. And if you were crap, he told you you were crap. And I respected that about him, because I was crap when I started. And he sat me down, he went, "You're shit. Here's why." And he handed me a list of reasons. You're talking too fast, you're slurring your words, you're not looking at the camera at the right time, you're standing there, you're looking down, you're covering your face with your hands. He listed all of my flaws, and god damn, I had a lot of flaws. And Raji, over the years, forced all of them out of me. I appreciated that. I really did. So to me, that level of education was important, and I knew the rest of the course was crap as soon as Raji left. And the reason I knew that was because we had a module called Acting to Camera, a green screen module. You had 2 things you could choose from. We had to do a teleprompter test where you have, I've got a teleprompter, but I've got one of the Elgato teleprompters, and you know what? It's really good. And the test was, you would sit down and you would read whatever's on the teleprompter, and then you would lead. That's it. You could either choose to do the BBC News Reporter style teleprompter or the MTV Music News Reporter style teleprompter. Both had different styles, different inflections, and I said I will do the BBC News a thing. And so I sat down and I looked up and I was reading the teleprompter, and all you have to do is have clear diction and look straight forward. That's pretty much it. And I was just kind of reading, saying, "This is the BBC News at 4, and next up, the weather." And just, you know, basic stuff, basic news reports, you know. And afterwards, they pulled me aside and they went, "Josh, you're not doing this right." And I went, "What do you mean?" while I'm willing to listen to your feedback, I think I'm doing this fine. I'm watching the video back of me doing it. I'm maintaining eye contact. I'm keeping an RP accent. The idea of keeping received pronunciation as an accent is to make sure that you're inflecting roughly at the end of every sentence. It's not an important thing to know how to do in everyday life, but when you're presenting on television or talking to a microphone, it's the voice you'll hear as part of BBC documentaries. The idea is when David Attenborough ages slightly and his voice has a slightly more croaky feel to it, he's still doing received pronunciation. That's how you do the Attenborough accent, by simply slowing down. This is actually, I know this is a tangent we're going off on, but I'm going to explain a tangent to you. Have you ever done a tongue twister? Unique New York, New York unique, that kind of thing. Or Irish, wristwatch, Irish. Tongue twisters work in a really interesting way. So your brain, you've got me talking about drama now. I freaking love, I'm going to walk away from this dude just because he's going to keep hitting that constantly. I absolutely love the theory behind acting, and I understand a lot of the theory. Tongue twisters work in this way. When your brain processes a word or a thought, there is imagine a process bar, if you will, for that word. And then there's a process bar for another word, and then a process bar for another word. The reason tongue twisters work is because the process bar, the end of one of them, is incredibly similar to the start or the middle of the next word. So your brain tries to shortcut. Instead of processing the bar ending and then processing the next bar, it processes the first bar and thinks, hang on, the segment I've just done is similar to that. I'm just going to jump straight there. And that's why you end up tripping over your words. Saying things like, she sells seashells by the seashore. The shells she sells are seashells for shore. Your brain is hearing the S sound so many times, it's trying to shortcut to the next syllable, the next sound in your mind. That's what's happening. Anyway, that is how tongue twisters work. So I was doing tongue twisters in order to improve myself. My favourite one is about a racehorse called 1-1 and its rival racehorse called 1-2. And the tongue twister is 1-1 was a racehorse, 1-2 was 1-2. 1-1, 1-1, 1-2, 1-1-2. And the idea is it's two racehorses going in a race. And then you have the all I want is a proper cup of coffee from a proper copper coffee pot. These kind of things. You're effectively just forcing your brain to stop shortcutting. Anyway, I was training at the BBC received pronunciation accent for a long time, and I think I was doing a rather good job of performing and presenting. And the lecturer just said no. Anyway, I woke up on the day of the actual test, and I was late. My alarm didn't go off. I was like an hour late. So I just woke up, threw on whatever random t-shirt was near me, whatever random jacket there was, pair of jeans, and I ran to uni because I wanted to prove I could do it. And when I got in, they walked in and they looked at me, and it was a lecturer I didn't recognise. They just looked at me straight away and went, MTV? And the reason they said that is because I had a crappy jacket, a t-shirt, messy hair, sweaty, and jeans. And I just went, yeah. And they went, okay, off you go. So I just walked up, looked at the teleprompter, and I forget the exact words, but it was something like, and it's been another crazy week for Lady Gaga as she's been releasing this and this and this, and she's arguing with Madonna, and now we go over to this guy who's going to be doing with this. All right, guys, peace out, have a good day. And I walked off. And then they turned and looked at me and went, that was the most fantastic MTV thing we've seen. It was so casual. It was so nonchalant. It's like you didn't even care about it. How did you do it? And I went, it's pretty easy. I just don't really give a shit about this. I've been training for the BBC one for ages, and you keep telling me I'm bad at it, so I thought I'd do the MTV one. Turns out I fucking nailed it, didn't I? And they were like, yeah, you got a first in this. I'm like, oh, great. Fantastic. The thing I've been training at for ages, you're saying crap at, the thing that I put no effort into at all and just did, turns out I'm really good at it. You're not exactly helping yourself to look like a good university now. Maybe I should just not bother working on anything and turn up and do the thing. And they were like, Josh, this is not what we want you to learn. Anyway, I just started turning up and doing the thing, putting almost no effort or research into anything. 3 years ended, high 2-1 with honours, bosh, done. Spent my entire time making films on the film and TV course. I spent more time on that course learning how to act in front of a camera than I did on my actual course. And at the end of it, I walked up to my lecturer and I said, right, the most important thing that a performing arts course needs to have is a showcase. Because, unfortunately, white, black-haired, middle-class male actor, I'm not exactly a rare casting type. You can find 100 of me walking through any performing arts school. I am, if you will, the default. Like when you are designing an actor in an RPG game, this is what happens immediately. Unfortunately, you then get more muscle and you get Henry Cavill. You get slightly curlier hair, you get Richard Madden. I am, if anything, the default acting man, and then everything just kind of spreads away from this. So I said to the lecturer, the most important thing is going to be a showcase. That's when you get agencies and agents down to watch us act. And then they have their choice, they pick who they want. Agents always go to the big acting schools first, RADA, Lambda, the kind of CalArts over in America. They always go to the big ones first and they get the really big rich kids. And then they slowly work their way down the performing arts universities and they grab all of those ones. So I said to my lecturer, 3 years of acting training. It's all come down to the showcase. When is the showcase going to be? Because I want to act in front of an agent and I want to have an agent say, that's the guy I want. And my lecturer said, oh yeah, we don't do one. Alright, cool. So how do I get an agent? Oh, you can just contact them if you want to. Alright, okay, cool. Processing. Let me just think. Now, let me rephrase this. How is that different to anything I could have done without spending 3 years on this course? And they went, it's not really. Okay, so I contacted Spotlight, the big casting agency that you've got to be on to be taken seriously as an actor. And I said, hey, look, here's my degree, here's my diploma, my 3-year acting course is done. And they replied saying, yeah, we don't recognize that university as providing a high enough quality of acting to count you as a trained actor. And I responded saying, with all due respect, that's rubbish. Here is the university's prospectus. Here is the people that have come from here before. Here is the thing I was promised. Here is what you expect from me. And they went, yeah, we actually don't count that. In order to go on Spotlight, you need this, or this. Acting credits, professional training. And I went, well, thank fuck that in that 3 years, I actually spent enough time making enough short films with enough people who became successful enough that many of my credits in those films now count as professional credits, and here is my filmography. And they looked at that and went, oh yeah, that's fine. The irony being that I didn't need to be on the acting course to actually go and be in the short films. Could have just turned up. Anyway, my main plan to pay off my student debt that I now see as completely useless is plan A is die. Plan B is C plan A. That's the main one. So yeah, I'm extremely annoyed at my university, and when they sent the feedback form of, hey, how did it go? Like, terrible. Just absolutely useless, waste of time, complete waste of time. I've even offered to go back to the university and talk to the current students about a career on YouTube or on Twitch or on TikTok or on Twitter or on Instagram, the realities of being a self-employed content creator, of dealing with taxation, of dealing with the algorithm, of performing to a camera every day, of setting up a ring light, of setting up a webcam, of working with a Rode mic. And they went, yeah, we don't really think you have any valuable input there, Josh. Okay, so great, good, cool, good to think, good to know. But then I did one of my favorite things, okay? Then I decided to look up who from the uni is working as an actor. Who has succeeded? Who's actually left that course and managed to make it in the world of performing arts to any level at all? Someone in chat's like, how did we get here? Can you imagine someone tuning in for an Elden Ring stream right now and it's just me ranting about education for like half an hour? I decided to actually look up real data of who succeeded. It's not a long list. And when you count kind of career, I'm probably at the top of it. But just below me, there is... Does anyone watch Grantchester on TV? It's not a super popular show, but it's a decent show. Has anyone watched Grantchester? So there is an actor in Grantchester called Dean Weir. I don't know if any of you will know the TV show. No one has watched Grantchester. One person's like, never even heard of it. Anyway, there's a guy called Dean Weir. He looks like that. Dean was in my course. Dean was great. Dean has succeeded. Dean has made it as an actor. He's had roles. He was in one of the Avengers films as, I think he was one of the henchmen that got to shoot Samuel L. Jackson. So that's decent. You know, he's done well with that. Dean's succeeded. The irony was, Dean was one of the guys with me who decided to just not bother going to the course and instead spend a load of time at the film and TV course making shows, making films, doing stuff, practical things. So far Dean and I have done pretty well. We're jobbing actors, we're living, we're surviving. And the other one was, I want to say Tess Clark. And yeah, Tess Clark, if you Google Tess Clark, she is an actress. She went to university with me. She was lovely, lovely person. Tess Clark ended up playing, what's the main female in Resident Evil 2? Not the video game. She was in the live-action trailer for the game. When they were remaking Resident Evil 2, they did a live-act... Claire, that was it, Claire Redfield. So if you have a look at the live-action trailer for Resident Evil 2 that they made as like a promo, she was Claire Redfield in that. And you know what? She's surviving now. She's doing okay. She's living in London. She's doing enough theatre work. She's fine. That's pretty much it, really. That's pretty much it. That's like, if you were to take the actors that the course has produced, that's your top 3. A guy that plays Elden Ring and makes videos about MMORPGs, Dean in Grantchester, and Tess. Everyone else has just kind of become a drama teacher, moved on, not done too much work out of it. It's not exactly the pedigree that you'd expect as an industry leader, is it? 2 actors and a YouTuber. The most famous person to ever go to my university was... who's the long-haired guy in the Mighty Boosh? He now does the Great British Bake Off. That was it. Who's that guy? You guys will know the name of it. Neil someone? Noel Fielding, that was it, Noel Fielding. So here's the great thing. When I went to the university is super proud of Noel Fielding. He dropped out after about 2 years and wasn't on the acting course. So they were super, they were like, Noel Fielding went here. I'm like, yeah, in a way he did, but in another more accurate way, you didn't teach him how to act and he left. So it's not exactly the achievement that you want it to be, is it really? I can see why Spotlight don't recognize the uni. Oh, they just don't. It was a real challenge. And some of the stuff that we learned was just like, no. Because I actually said to one of my lecturers one day, are we ever going to focus on stuff that's a bit more Hollywood? Like, I know it's unlikely. I get that. Chance of succeeding, very low. Chance of becoming a recognized actor, remarkably low. But are we ever going to talk about it? Are we ever going to maybe discuss how to do it? And my lecturer just said to me, no, because it's not something that's likely enough to happen for us to care about. And I thought, so you'd rather focus on creating people that don't succeed than creating people that do. Okay. Rada and Lambda don't shy away from making stars. Yeah, shoot for the dirt, man. They aimed for the ceiling and just about got there. That's what it was. Did Josh give his thoughts on the strike yet? I am not involved enough in the industry to fully understand the complexities of that, so it's not something that I would feel comfortable giving my opinion on. It's far more complicated than I understand as a situation. Okay, anyway, someone was asking a question in the chat. Hello, can I ask something? Yeah, ask whatever you want. If you guys have questions about the industry in the chat. It's like when people say to me, hey, you should just become a voice actor. Okay, cool. Become a voice actor. Consider this. You are an agent. You can deal with maybe 30, possibly 40 people on your books, sending them out for jobs. Now, the idea of an agency is actually relatively archaic because technology and communication didn't work as well back then. So you couldn't have casting directors going to every single actor and talking to them. It would just take too long. So you had casting directors go to an agency, and the agency would then supply them with actors or voice actors. This is why you see the same actors or voice actors in almost every project, because they're in the same agency, and the agents are friends with the directors and the casting directors, and so the same people get put forward again and again and again. That's why you see the same names in the same kind of circles. So you're an agent. Who do you want to cast? Well, ideally you want someone who's very, very good. So you go to the big, good, prestigious schools. You go to RADA, you go to Lambda, you go to Cal Arts, all these big important ones, and you go and you say, right, who are your best people? Who are your best students? I want them on my books. I want to represent them. And if you are William Morris Endeavor, which is one of the biggest casting agencies in the world, you can do that. In fact, I think right now William Morris Endeavor currently they represent Hugh Jackman. And when I was in uni, I thought, you know what, as a bit of a laugh, let's apply to William Morris Endeavor. Let's send my little CD over to them and see if they even care. Have you ever been to a website so pretentious that it only exists to hold the web address name? And if you need to contact them, you must do it in writing. And to send them a casting tape, you must send them an actual tape. Not a CD. A tape. That's what I had, a cassette tape. That's what I was approached with. We, on the base level of acting, we are not important enough to be able to email the big agencies. It's all word of mouth. It's all friends. It's all family. So you're an agency. You want the best actors on your books. You go to the best schools. You get your pick of the bunch. You never really go to the crap universities. And if I apply to an agency and they say, okay, Josh, what can you bring us that we haven't got already? People said to me, oh, you should go and apply for the agency that's got, what's his name from Game of Thrones? Rob Stark. Richard Madden. Okay, well, Richard Madden and I share a casting type. So if a job comes through to the agency, it's going to go to Richard Madden first before it then goes to me. Anyway, it's very difficult to get into those agencies unless you've been through those big, important, expensive schools. That's the problem. That is the problem. So yeah, it's difficult to do. It's very difficult to kind of get into the industry unless you are... It's why they say that acting is a poor person's hobby and a rich person's job. Because Raji gave me the most true advice ever. And this is why I've always kind of taken part-time jobs. Raji, again, remember, was the good actor at the university. He ended up leaving because, you know, of course he did. But he sat down and he said to me, look, Josh, if you want to be an actor, a serious actor, then one day you might get a phone call that says, hey, we've got an audition for you. It's in London. It's tomorrow. Here is 3 pages worth of script. Learn it, memorize it, get to London, audition tomorrow. This means that you need to be in a position in life where not only can you remember 3 pages worth of script in one day, you can also take off a day from whatever job you happen to have without your manager getting mad at you. You can afford to travel down to London in a day on a train. You can afford the London Underground. You can get lunch when you're down there. You can wait around for maybe 3 or 4 hours. You can then do a 5-minute audition. You can travel home and you can be ready to travel back the next day. And if that's not a lifestyle that you've got, you are going to struggle to get through the early stages of being an actor. And I said, Raji, that's really unrealistic. People can't just take days off from their job whenever they want to. Most people don't have several £100 in the bank to afford a train or a hotel to London and back. This is an unrealistic expectation of a lot of working class actors. And he just went, yeah, it is. You ever wonder why you never see too many working class actors? You ever wonder why they always hold people up when they're like, oh yeah, this working class kid from the middle of Yorkshire has succeeded in the big city of London? Yeah, it's because it's really hard to be able to just take time off your job whenever you need it, travel to where you need to get to, and expect nothing to come of it whatsoever. That's the problem with it. The next bit of advice that Raji gave me was fantastic. He said, Josh, the vast majority of auditions you go to, you won't get the part for, which means, statistically, the vast amount of your acting life will be auditioning. So if you aren't willing to audition every week and love the process, you may as well stop right now. It turns out that there's a reason that the best way to become a full-time actor is to have your mum and dad's names be blue on Wikipedia. When that happens, it's much easier. Much, much easier. Not that I'm, bitter about that, but I'm a little bit bitter. YouTube was, for me, one of the easiest ways of leveling the playing field. Pretty much anyone can grab a camera, make a video, and edit something onto it, which is the way to do it. Yorkshire's a state of mind. Even then, you get people that are like, oh, I worked my way up from nothing. Did you? Did you really? Or did you have a little bit of help? Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger gave the best speech saying, don't call me a self-made man, because Arnold Schwarzenegger was... he, I think, did work exceptionally hard to get to where he is. You can like him, you can not like him, but my God, the guy at some point in his life had nothing. Genuinely. And he worked bloody hard for what he had. He made most of his money in the real estate industry before he went into acting. In fact, if you've not seen the documentary with Arnold Schwarzenegger, he said that when Terminator was being cast, he phoned up James Cameron and said, hey, I want to discuss being in your film. And James Cameron sat down with him and said, so Arnold, I heard you want to be an actor. And Arnold replied, no, I want to be a star. And God damn, yes, beautiful. That is what it is. That confidence, that level, I understand that. How do you make money in real estate if you don't start with money already? Oh, we did bodybuilding. He did lots of bodybuilding first. He got money from being a successful bodybuilder and a full-time bodybuilder, then invested that smartly. Very, very clever. Really invest that. He was smart. He was decent. Right, there were some questions in the chat that were really important about acting in general. Let's have a look. Is the YouTube Twitch gig a jumping point for a Hollywood-esque job position? So let me explain something to you honestly, and I'll always be genuine with you. I love my job. I love YouTube, I love Twitch. I am incredibly privileged to be able to do this. To play Elden Ring and to chat to you guys at the same time, that's gorgeous, that's brilliant. Very few people see this. But this was never the goal. And I think this is the reason that I'm still hungry. This is the reason I still want more. It's actually not about generating the most money possible. I know that sounds like a really dumb thing to say because it's a business, but to me it's about generating opportunities and doing something that I find challenging. I had a friend of mine, the YouTuber Kadikarus. He came round a couple of days ago because me and him met at a convention, got on really well, and we just try and find time to hang out when we can. I actually mentioned about not making content with him, just hanging out. And I was talking to Kadikarus, and I'm saying, I'm doing this, I've got this video editing, I've got this working, I've got this going on, I've got this going on. And he kind of pulled back and said, look, man, you're going to burn out. Slow down. Slow down. You're going to burn out. And we got talking, and he helped me understand and recontextualize a lot of stuff in my own mind. Talking to someone who is as passionate as you are about whatever you're doing is a beautiful experience. And what I ended up saying to him was, look, if being a YouTuber was the end goal, I've done it. If this was the end point, if this was what I've been aiming toward the whole time, sweet. I can slow down, I can rest, I can relax, I can release fewer videos, I can do fewer Twitch streams, I can stream for less time. That's okay, I can do that. If this was the goal, I could do that. Because I would still make enough money to be able to live comfortably. Not going to be a multi-millionaire, not going to be a billionaire, but hey, I'm okay. I can support my family, support my friends, support me. But what this was building was the chance and the opportunity to act, to perform, to entertain. It's not that I'm not happy. It's that I'm not doing what I should be doing. I'm not fulfilled. There's an itch that is not scratched. And it's not being filled with money. It's not being filled with sugar or drugs or alcohol. It's not being filled with any of that. It's being filled when I am on stage performing. It's being filled when I'm doing the Session Zero show at Insomnia. It's being filmed when I get to meet people and perform and act and create. It's being filled when I am challenged as an actor. And I think those situations are going to be easier to achieve if I've got enough free time and enough money to fund the chance to do it, to fund the journey into it. So ultimately, that's what this is. It's me professionally missing that satiating challenge. So I love YouTube videos. I love video games. I love streaming. But when someone comes along and says, hey, how about being in this stage show? It's really difficult. Okay, let's do that. That is what we're going to do. You know, the one stage show that I've always wanted to do that I don't think I'll ever get a chance to be in is Woman in Black. Has anyone in the chat seen a Woman in Black on stage? It has 2 actors in the whole thing, and each of them play about 30 parts between each other. Changing, it was made into a horror film with Daniel Radcliffe, but the actual original Woman in Black was a horror stage show. And it is excellent. Absolutely excellent, without a doubt. Let's go and grab some souls. So talking to Kadikarus kind of helped him understand that if you're a successful YouTuber and you are making videos for the sake of making videos, if the end goal is money, 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 then you will never get there, ever. If your end goal is money, then you won't get there simply because, you know, when do you stop? Do you stop when you have enough? Okay, cool. What do you spend it on? What do you do with it then? You say, okay, there's a joke in the chat. Someone says, oh, I don't know what the theatre is because I'm uncultured. Okay. You ever had the chance to go? This is what I really, really find annoying. How many people in the chat have actually had the chance to go to the theatre? I know that it's got this image of wealth and this image of kind of vaudeville, this image of extravagance. So we've got so much free time and so much free money. We're just going to go to the theatre for the evening, darling. It's going to be lovely. How many of you have actually had the chance to go? Because you know what? It's frickin' expensive. Tickets are hundreds of pounds. You've got to go to a big city. You've got to go to London. You've got to go to New York. Unless you want to go and see like a local show, which can still be amazing. But going to the theatre, going to see a live show is difficult. It's expensive. It's time consuming. A lot of people don't have the lifestyle to facilitate going to the theatre. Often. Cirque du Soleil, live. The best show I ever saw live was Lord of the Rings, the musical. There was a musical in London at Drury Lane for a couple of years. I went on a school trip to go and see the Lord of the Rings, the musical. That was an incredibly rare school trip for all of us, and it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And that was one of the moments that I fell in love with the idea of theatre. The complexity of it is absolutely beautiful. A friend of mine took me to go and see Treasure Island at the National Theatre in London. Absolutely brilliant. And it's a real shame that more people don't have the chance to go and see that. Again, I think education would help with this, and supporting people and funding the arts and letting people go and do that. Yeah, the Lord of the Rings had to finish because the revolving stage seriously hurt someone. Probably killed them, I think. Yeah. So theatre to me is exceptionally fulfilling. But I think it's a real shame that it's got this reputation of oh, only the rich people get to do this. And that's probably because, unfortunately, only the rich people do get to do it, because even going to it is difficult. Yeah, it's expensive. It's bloody expensive. Now, the other choice is that you go and see amateur performances, which are, you know, local Amdram theatre. And sometimes that is fantastic. But also you've got the variety of incredibly good actors who are doing Amdram because they just, you know, got a bit of free time, and really bad amateur dramatic actors. That Village Fate kind of feel. You know the idea. Anyway, how did we get into this conversation? Oh yeah, I was talking about university, talking about the failure of the university course, and then talking about acting in general. So to me, I will never stop doing YouTube and Twitch because it, on a level, fulfills me. But I still want to get back to live performance. I still want to get back to film and TV. And I still want to get back to in-person performances, because that scratches an itch that otherwise is not scratched. And now let's return to Albanak Genocide. Where do we buy arrows from? It's the first dude, isn't it? The very first dude in the game. He sells arrows. Carle sells them. Farming runes. Check out what's on and do it. Now, I'm very lucky in a way, because I've always known that I want to be an actor. There was never a question in my mind. That's all I've ever wanted to be. Not many people in the world ever have that level of passion for something. I know that. Not many people are ever lucky enough to know what they want to be. I knew. It was very obvious to me. I always knew. There's never a question. I've not even have to... When someone says to me, hey, what do you want to do? I want to act. People have said to me, if money wasn't an object, what would you do? I'm like, if money wasn't an object, I'm getting together a team and we are putting on a performance of something. When am I going to make the Josh Strife Swoles YouTube channel for the gym video? So I'm trying to convert my garage into a gym at the minute. That's the plan. Like, I'm taking this seriously. I really am. But lots of people, when you say, hey, if money wasn't an object, what would you do? A couple of people say they would just stay in, eat crap food, and play video games. And you know what? If that makes you happy, go for it. If that's what you want, go. But to me, that wasn't enough. I've had the lifestyle where I get to stay in, play video games, and eat crap food. And after about a week, I kind of felt this isn't scratching an itch. It isn't scratching an itch, man. You know what I would like to say that I think is very important? I have discovered that, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, when someone is passionate about something, they will find a way to do it, even if they don't have all the equipment. If someone wants to make films, and they have a crap camera, they will use that camera. If someone wants to draw, and they've only got a couple of, you know, cheap drawing items, they will use those. I have discovered that people that really want to do something will just do it, even if they have none of the equipment needed, because to them the passion of doing it is the thing, is the important thing. Some people we refer to as all the gear, no idea. You ever met those people? They spend an absolute bucket load of money and time on, well, mostly just money, on something. Have any of you ever met someone who's all the gear, no idea? You know, they've got all the expensive stuff, all the money, all the things, but they just don't know what they're doing with it. How much different is it when you meet someone who doesn't have the gear but has passion? If you go back and you look at almost any successful actor or successful YouTuber, and I mean actors or YouTubers that have not been handed a career, but have worked their way up from the bottom, that's when you start to see that these are the people that even when they didn't have everything they needed, they still tried. I mean, people like to rag on Mr. Beast all the time. But you know what? Go back and watch his early stuff, and you'll see that he was a guy just doing his best, in his room with a simple camera. You go back and you look at MatPat. Yeah, I know that it's cool now to joke about game theory and whatnot, but go and have a look at the early stuff MatPat was doing. Some of the earliest videos on his channel was him in community theatre as the narrator from the show Blood Brothers. Yeah, go and have a look at that. A lot of the early stuff, actors that have worked their way up from nothing. A lot of the jobbing actors, Michael Caine was a great example of, did a load of stuff early. I'm not using Mr. Beast as an example of what he's doing now. I'm using him as an example of, here is a guy who had passion to do something and did it. That was the idea that I'm going for there. I mean, as silly as it sounds, again, PewDiePie. The idea of guy in room doing thing. Everyone in the chat is like, oh my god, you can't talk about this right now. Okay, I'm literally talking about the fact that they had the passion to do something, the desire, and did it as much as they could. So if you want to act, find a way to do it. Find a local theatre show. It's crap. If you want to sing, find a local show to sing in. People sing in the shower more than anything else. So to me, what the most important thing is finding people who have the passion to do something. Kid have the passion to do it. You look at people that make Magic the Gathering content, Warhammer content, the passion to do it. There are videos on YouTube starring me from 10 years ago. They are there. I don't even know what they're called anymore, but they are there because that's all I ever wanted to do. That's all I ever wanted to do. There are people in the chat who won't stop spamming about bad things. I understand that, but this is more of a nuanced conversation about starting with nothing except the passion to do something. If you have passion, great. If you have money, great. If you have passion and money, fantastic. I didn't have the money for a long time, but I had the passion. And now I'm going to keep working as hard as I can, making YouTube videos that entertain people in order to get the money to go and follow the passion. If the end goal was just make as much money as possible, I would have simply accepted every sponsorship opportunity that came my way. And believe me, they've started adding some serious zeros to those sponsorship stuff. But I keep saying no to them because it was never actually about that. It was about building up, and this was another part of the conversation I was having with Jim. If I'm trying to build up if I'm sitting like a dragon on a big pile of gold, and I want to use that gold to fund attempting an acting career, would it be wise of me to just accept all of those sponsorships? If the point of them, ultimately, is to fund an acting career, surely I should just accept all of them. But no, it's also not about that. Because I still want to have pride in the work that I'm making. And I think that's why I was so annoyed at the university that I went to. I didn't feel that there was pride in what they were teaching me. Sponsorships are iffy, they absolutely are, but to me the most important thing was I wanted to be proud of the work that I was producing. I wanted to be proud of the work I was producing. Will I sue the university? No, not at all. But if ever they want me to come back as a speaker, I would have some strong caveats about doing that. I wouldn't want to punish the current students by saying no, because it's not their fault. But I also wouldn't want to be seen as a boon to the university, because I don't believe that the university have a huge amount of hand or help in the success that I've found. Put it that way. I want to be proud of the work that I've done. Tell Visa to send the entire rent to the university. No, they don't deserve that. Can passion be lost? Oh God, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, you know what? I'll be honest with you guys. There have been moments when I've been writing episodes of Worst MMO Ever, or episodes of Was It Good, or I've been trying to create content, and halfway into the script, I've stepped back and I've thought, this isn't good. And I've not thought that because the jokes aren't funny. I've not thought that because the analysis isn't, decent. I've not thought that because it's going to make a bad video. I've thought that because I realized that I'm being very formulaic. I'm going through the motions. I'm building to a framework. And this is going to sound exceptionally arrogant, but I need to be honest with you. A good actor can not be feeling the character, not be feeling the day, not really be feeling the audience, and still put on a goddamn good show, because that is their job. You turn up, you do the best you can, you go home. Even if you don't want to do it, you do the best you possibly can, and audience won't tell. If I'm writing a script for a video and I'm not feeling it, it's my job to make sure you don't notice that. It's my job to make sure you never go, this is a subpar video, this one's off, this ain't working. It's my job to write a good script, record a good script, do the best voiceover I can, the best editing I can, get it out, and have you guys be bloody entertained. Unfortunately, if I ever sit there thinking, I'm not feeling this, I'm just clocking in, doing it, and clocking out. If I ever feel like that, I take a step back and say, right, I'm going to do something different for a bit, and when I get the passion for it back, then I'm going to make the video, because there is still a level that you can tell. There is still a moment where you, as an audience member, can tell that something is off, something is wrong. No matter how skilled I think I am, there is something I cannot hide when I am not feeling it. I felt it in the second Mass Effect 3 stream. I thought, you know what? This game ain't working. I'm not feeling it. The stream ain't working. If I keep going with this, it's not going to work. Let's end it now. Let's go to Elden Ring. Let's have a little bit of a palate cleanser, bit of a reset, and then we jump back and try something different. Because no matter how good I think I am, I'm not that good. That must be why you can't make good products from just passion. Passion is unreliable. You need money and you need passion. Those are the two things that survive. Some people say, oh, you just got to believe in yourself. It's very easy to believe in yourself when all your bills are paid, all your rent or your mortgage is paid, you've got food in the pantry, you're warm, you've got clothes, you've got access to transport, you've got access to hobbies. It's very easy to believe in yourself when you know that even if you fail, you're going to be okay. It's very easy to believe in yourself when you've got a safety net. You've got a big golden parachute. All those celebrities, we're all in this together. We're all in the same boat. No, we're not. You're in a really big boat that's very safe. And maybe the ocean is scary around you, but the boat you're in is a hell of a lot safer than the boat other people are in. Some other people aren't even on a boat. They're just floating in the ocean. And you look around and go, well, we're all in the same ocean. No. No, we're not. I love that. Don't worry, celebrities are going to sing Imagine at us, and then it's all going to be fine. But what about having money and still not believing in yourself? Some people are like that. When people say money doesn't buy happiness, I feel that saying is a bit stupid, because if you don't have the money you need to survive, you're pretty frickin' sad. And then when you get the money you need to survive, excellent. You can pay your bills, you can buy food, you can have a roof over your head. You're now very happy. When people say money doesn't buy happiness, let's change that, because that seems like a really abusive thing to say to someone if they're struggling. Money can't stop you being sad if you're not fulfilled. But it can definitely cover the basics that you need in life. That's the important thing. Once you have all of your bases covered, then more money might not make you happy. But until you've got the bases covered, it's pretty bloody important to have. And the next time someone in a mansion with 3 cars and massive amounts of investments and new clothes every week says, money won't make you happy, man. Okay, cool. Let's trade. I'll live your life for a bit and take all the money and chance and time you've got and add my passion to it, and we'll see if I'm able to do something good with it. You come over here and try and earn this instead. Let's see what's going on with that. Money doesn't make you happy, but poverty makes you dead. And I think I'd rather be, I'd rather be rich. Like that. I really, really, really dislike the attitude of, and it's always bloody rich people, saying, if you had all this, you wouldn't be happy. All right, cool. I'm willing to try. Let's just see, shall we? Let's do a little bit of a trade. It gets to me. It really freaking gets to me. Yeah, money does not make you happy, but poverty makes you dead. And when you're dead, you've lost a very big part of your life. Am I okay? You know what? I'm good. There are a couple of things in my life that I get passionate about. Education is one of them. And rich people talking down to people, or talking in a very... it's not so much down as... Correct me if you think I'm wrong on this. There seems to be an increase in the amount of wealthy or privileged people cosplaying as poor or unprivileged. I don't know if you see that, but I see it quite a lot. There's a lot of very... Because there's almost like there's a social currency that comes with it. There's almost a benefit to being seen as just one of the guys, just one of the crew. It's a fashion item. It's a handbag with nothing in it. But you have to have it because then it looks better. And it just irritates me. It's the... You guys seen the David Beckham interview? When he absolutely calls Posh out for it. And God bless him for doing that. Because I think David Beckham actually was one of the guys that came up from working class, worked bloody hard, found a lot of success, a lot of chances, and, you know, took that and did a good job with it. If you haven't seen it, basically, there's an interview with Victoria Beckham, and the interviewer, you know, is asking questions, and Victoria Beckham says, well, you know, we were very working class when we grew up. And then David, who wasn't meant to be on the interview, just poked his head out from behind the door and went, be honest. And Victoria stumbles a bit, and she's like, oh no, we were working class. We were working class. And David just went, what car did your dad drive you to school in? And Victoria went, well, you know, it depends. Which means they had more than one, which first of all is a pretty bloody rich thing to have. And then David was having none of her shit. He just went, be honest. And Victoria went, okay, fine. In the 80s, my dad drove a Rolls Royce. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, a Rolls Royce is a really expensive car. And Victoria was there going, oh yes, well, we were very working class. Were you? In one of the most expensive cars in the 80s. You know, they were even more expensive in the 80s. I'll get back to the game in a second. But do you guys see an increase in wealthy people insisting that they're not? Because I'm happy that my mum and my dad worked decent jobs. Mum worked for the government for a bit. Dad was a security guard for a while. Mum ended up being a teacher, a teaching assistant, and then worked as a checkout girl in a supermarket. And she did well by us. And Dad did well by us. They actually, I think they met in a hockey game. My dad was playing hockey and my mum was a referee. And she said, I asked them how they met. I know it's a bit of a tangent, but I asked them, you know, how they met, and my mum just said, oh yeah, I thought your dad was a bit of a dickhead. And I'm like, oh, what happened? Like, oh, he was playing hockey, and, you know, sticks hockey, and just like a working man's club kind of field with sand on it in the back. They were playing hockey, and someone fouled my dad, which gave him a free hit in hockey. And instead of taking it as a free hit for the team and doing something productive with it, he just put the ball on the floor, put the stick up against it, and then whipped it as hard as he could at the guy who fouled him, and it smacked him in the shin. And my mum went over as the referee and sent him off, and he just kind of went, worth it, and then walked off. And after the end of the game, they got talking about how what he was doing was unprofessional and what she was doing was just calling him out, and then they started dating. Yeah, so great. That's just how that worked. Anyway, so they never had a boatload of money, but we did okay. I think the most annoyed my mum ever was at my dad was when my dad bought me a PlayStation 1 for Christmas, and she was annoyed because we did not have the money to afford a PS1, or we shouldn't have had. But he bought it anyway, I think because he wanted it. He kind of really wanted a PlayStation, and couldn't justify buying one for him and my mum, so he was like, this is for Josh. My mum was like, is it? Is it really? And, you know, fair play. It wasn't for me, it was definitely for him. Anyway, this got on to rich people cosplaying as poor people. It's insulting. It's remarkably insulting because it's all about the optics. It's about being seen as struggling, which some people think for some reason has social credit to it. You are almost... you're respected more if you struggle. Okay, this dude's on me now. I have not taken off the... I've not put the medallion back on. Yeah. I think it could be because they're seen... Yeah. When someone wears an Eat the Rich shirt and gets... I'm not calling anyone out specifically. Lots of celebrities have done this. Do you think it's weird that people get photographed at big film events or at fashion events wearing an Eat the Rich shirt? The irony being, the only people that get invited to those events are pretty rich. Oh, I'm going to use the Met Gala as a chance to push my financial ideas of who is and is not rich. You're at the Met Gala. Okay? Steve the security guard isn't at the Met Gala. A teacher earning a teacher's salary isn't at the Met Gala. A garbage man, as vital as he is to society, is not at the Met Gala. But they must be seen to be cosplaying. Cosplaying as struggling, because then you get the social credit of being struggling. Anyway, yeah, this is a thing that I feel strongly about. I feel strongly about this, and I think it's literally just because it's almost using someone's financial situation, financial upbringing as a fashion statement, which I think sucks. Commander Neil did this. This is Commander Neil's fault, mostly. How do we heal Oleg? Maybe that's a process we should be going for. We should be healing Oleg. That's the thing we should be doing. Have I tried Quickstep? No, not doing it. How do we heal? Incantations. We will work out how to heal Oleg. Yeah, when people are like, guys, I'm like you. Totally like you. One person I've been told is a bit of a dick, but still very kind of working class mentality is Sean Bean. Never met him. I've been told that, you know, he can be a little bit abrasive, a little bit abusive, a little bit of a dickhead sometimes, but he is still pretty much just a country boy. Sounds great. I've been told that Michael Caine, again, he can be a little bit arrogant, but at the same time remembers his roots, which I think is decent. But unfortunately, a lot of the... Again, this is the thing. Don't idolize anyone. Never meet your heroes. God, look at my eyes. My eyes look badass. Never meet your heroes. Don't idolize everyone. Everyone's human. Everyone makes mistakes. But unfortunately, cosplaying as financially struggling because it gives you a level of acceptance is just a bit crappy, to be fair. What if you're the hero and we meet you? Just a guy. Just a guy in a room with a camera. I've done well for myself. I've worked hard. I've made some decent videos. I've made some important and funny mistakes. I've tried to be decent as much as I can, but don't idolize me beyond what you would idolize anyone else. It's not the right thing to do, and it's definitely not healthy. I was actually talking about parasocial relationships with a friend a few days ago, and there are a lot of people who do see this as remarkably parasocial. And the reason it is, and I'll tell you why, the idea of a parasocial relationship is when it's much more one-sided than another. I've had people... Meet your villains? Oh, hell yeah, don't meet your heroes, meet your villains. Meet people you hate and just loathe, like your nemesis. That's the way. Josh walks to school. I did walk to school. You know what? I enjoyed walking to school. It was a decent bit of health for me. You know, I liked walking to school. I still remember the most trouble I ever got in at school was there was a video. So yeah, this was like my mum and my dad got called in for this. This was a whole thing, which I still think I was in the right for. Random story time. Our house was genuinely on the bottom of a hill. It was like a little back street, and there was like a row of couple of houses on either side, like kind of Victorian terraced houses, like the classic quaint English rows of houses, if you will, that kind of stuff. And the school that I was going to was at the top. It was about 20-minute walk away, so I would walk up, walk down. But halfway up the hill, there was a video store, video rental shop. Some people will remember those, millennials mostly. And every time after school, I would go into the video rental shop and I would just pick up video cases and read the backs of them. And, you know, DVDs ended up being a thing and coming out. And I spend hours in that video rental store. I never rent anything, I never had any money. But I liked looking at the video covers, and I liked reading the blurbs on the back of them, and I would talk to the people that worked there occasionally. It wasn't a Blockbuster, it was like an independent place. And I spent hours. That's where I think part of my obsession with film and TV came from. Seeing all of these actors on the covers of videos. And I thought, I want that to be me one day. I want to walk into a video store and see me on the cover of a video. That'd be so cool. But they were selling these fizzy drinks called Panda Pops. Some people will remember those. They were selling Panda Pops. And it's like 50p for a can or something. 50p for a little plastic bottle with a cap on it. And one day I walked in and they had a crate, a whole crate of Panda Pops. And they were selling it for like £3. And I said, hey, that's really cheap. Why are you selling a whole crate? And then, oh yeah, they go out of date within like a week, so we just short sell them. And I thought, £3? They're selling them for 50p each. There's like 20 in there. That's £10. I could make some money here. So I bought them. I convinced my mum to give me £3 and I bought them. And when I came home, the next day when I went to school, I loaded up 20 Panda Pops in my backpack and walked to school. That was the day that I realised I vastly underestimated how heavy 20 Panda Pops were. My bag, I was pulling me back all the way. I was like, every step was like full on going for it. And I was like a thin, dweeby little kid. And I was pounding up the hill trying to get. And when I got to school, I kind of walked over to my mates and went, hey, a Panda Pop for 50p. And they were like, yeah, what's wrong with them? And I was honest. I made sure to say to them, just so you know, these go out of date in like 2 days. So drink it now. And eventually, I sold all of them. And I made a tenner. That's £7 profit, which for like a kid was decent. And then I got called into the head teacher's office. Josh, you're selling food on school property. That is illegal. Oh, okay. I was like a kid at the time. Why? Why is it illegal? Because if someone gets food poisoning, we haven't got any insurance for it. Okay. That sounds like a you problem. And they were like, no, that's now a you problem. Mom got called to school, Dad got called to school. They're selling this. It's illegal. It's wrong. The kids could have been poisoned. We don't know what's in this. This is completely wrong, completely bad. I don't exactly remember how the conversation went, but it was one of those things where my mum and dad completely agreed with the head teacher at the time. And then as soon as we left the room, they were like, well done. Good job. Did you... The one thing my mum checked was she said, did you tell people these were nearing their date? And I'm like, yes, I did. It was very important to me. The integrity had to stay. I didn't want to feel like I was selling people a lie or false stuff. I made sure they understood why it was cheap. And they went, oh, okay, yeah, as long as everyone knows and everyone's safe and everyone's fine, go for it. And they fully supported me in that. And then I went back to the video store the next day, and there was another crate of Panda Pops for sale. And I thought, well, you can't get in trouble twice, can you? Same thing the next day. Made another £7. Did it again. I didn't get caught that time. So what all that taught me was how to cover my tracks. How to be secretive. Because my school did not have security cameras in it. So I just said to everyone, you didn't get this from me. And when I got pulled into the head teacher's office the next day, I learned the most important thing in the law. The right to remain silent. Because then all of the pressure and all of the onus for proof of guilt is on them proving I did it. Not on me admitting and saying it was fine, but just don't say anything. Because that's when I realized, you got nothing on me. The people that I'm selling these drinks to, they want cheap drinks every day. They're not going to rat me out. Then I just stayed still. I stayed quiet. And I got in a lot of trouble for that. But I still think that the entrepreneurial mindset that it taught me was a good thing. Sell posters, cut out the magazines for free. Yeah, excellent. That's the way of doing it. It's just, it worked. And I never even checked the oven. So, don't even know what's there with that. And now I'm selling gamer subs to viewers. I legit like gamer subs. Genuinely. I really do. They've been fun to work with. They've been decent people so far. My favourite one was, the gamer subs is the energy kind of gamer drink, the powdered stuff that I put in water and then drink. I'm wearing the t-shirt for it now. They were decent, legit decent to work with, and I've got like a little Discord chat going on with the guys that send me the t-shirts and send me some of the samples when they've got them out. And when I put the Devil May Cry 2 video out, one of them sent me a message saying, Josh, just thought I'd let you know, Devil May Cry 2 is my favourite game. And I responded saying, if you want to drop me as a, you know, as an official sponsored person, I will understand, but your favourite game is shit. And they just responded saying, it's a good thing that you're an important asset to us. And then we just kind of carried on working from there. No, they've been legit, genuine to work with. And I'm not paid to say that right now. They've been good people. I've liked it. I have been streaming for 6.5 hours. I have had no food. I have a lamb burger downstairs that I'm going to go and cook. To me, YouTube and Twitch is a dream job. But it is not my dream job. It is a privilege, and it is an amazing thing to be able to do. But I'm going to keep doing it until I am able to push into theatre, film, TV, and live events. I'm going to keep doing that. And I'll never lie to you about any of that. If I stop with YouTube, can I get your channel? Oh no, the channel will keep going. I'm going to keep playing video games my entire life. I'm a nerd through and through. I will never stop playing MMORPGs or video games. But I won't be able to keep up the content of videos forever, because this is a process. And I want to take you on the journey with me. I want to enjoy the process. And then when I've, you know, feel free enough and able enough to take the leap into performance, we do that. What's next in the worst MMO ever series? Astonia, which is a really interesting game that is, it's on Steam. I played Astonia Remastered. And Astonia, this is a joke I make in the video, is interesting because if you type Estonia, it will either autocorrect to Estonia, the country, or Astarion, the character from Baldur's Gate 3. So Googling it and researching it and writing a script on it was actually quite difficult because every time I wrote the name of the game, it would autocorrect to the country Estonia instead of the video game Astonia. So that was interesting when I was rereading the script to myself thinking, what the hell? Oh, right, gotcha, autocorrect. Anyway, I'm going to go and lift some heavy weights and put them down again because the biceps need to be trained and bigger. Thank you for joining me today. I will see you next week, Saturday, 7 o'clock, Sundays at 4. You know the rhyme. The next video coming out will either be Worst MMO Ever Estonia, Was It Good Neverwinter Nights, which is taking an age to edit because it's so bloody long, or Was It Good Kingsfield, the very first From Software game. Until then, join the Discord, feel free to chat, take care, good night, and God bless.